Hi, and welcome to Glenn's Tech Corner. In this video, I'll show you how to create databases and views of databases in Notion. Databases are a great feature in Notion that allows you to store anything you can imagine in a very organized way. And I'll show you how to get started. First, if you want to create a new database, you can anywhere in your Notion just create a new empty page. In the bottom of this, you can select that this should be a database. When doing that, you get a lot of suggested templates you can use, which will help you get started easier, but you can also just create an empty database, which I'll do for this example. After I create this, it would ask me if I would link it to an existing database, but I don't want that. I want to create a new database. The other thing I'll show later. Now we have an empty database. I can call it to do. We can also give it an icon so it looks a little bit more neat in my Notion panel. And we only have one property, the name, the default property, but we can add as many as we want. So for my to-do list, I also want a status. I also want an assigned to, and I want a due date, and I want a priority level. This looks good for now. Then I can start creating the first page by clicking here. So I can call this task 1. Status not started, that's fine. Assigned to myself. Due date is on Wednesday. And priority is high. And first time I search, I kind of create this option in my select. Next time I create a new task, I would instead be able to either select it or create a new one. And after this is created, I can also change the color so it maybe fits more a priority system, with a red for the high priority and a yellow for the medium priority. And here I can of course add as many things as I want in different stages and of different priorities. And we'll change this to become green. So this is one database with one view, taking over a whole page. But I could also add another view if I wanted to have a board view where I can see the different stages. I just simply click up here and say that I want a board view. And now it already says it shows this as a grouping. But I could change, instead of group it by the status, that it could be grouped by the priority. So that is totally up to you. You can choose between any kind of selectable option. I will switch it back to the status. So I can move them back here. I could also choose to say that I want to see it in a timeline, where I then see all my tasks grouped here. And I could choose to sort them by their due date, so it looks more like an ordinary Gantt chart. And here I could also move them, which would change this date that I set on them previously. I can also, in this setting, and I can do that on all the views, tell it how many properties do I want to see in this specific view. So let's say here I also want to see the status. And maybe I want to see the status before the name. And all of this is of course connected. So if I open this one and changed it to be in progress, it would of course also have changed here and here. So all of this data is stored the same place, you just choose different ways to view it. So this is how you probably most of the time would get started with creating databases, but we also have a few more options. If you are inside of a page that is not a database, this is a blog page with some text and headline blocks, you can also here make a slash and then write database, and then you get a lot of options of embedding a database. We'll just take this database inline. And now it will still show me, do we want to create a new database? But we could also just search for to do and then connect this, which this icon shows, this small arrow. We connect it to the existing database. So every change I made here would also be reflected over here. So we can also get views of the same data in various different places. And we could of course always change this if it shouldn't be a board, but instead should be a chart, a list, a table, calendar, or something else. We can also, inside an existing page, create a new database. So I'll make a new empty database. I'll just call it test database. Just add a single select property and just do test1, group1, test2, group2, test3, also group2. So now I have a new database with a new set of data, but not as a whole page, but embedded within a single page. And this one is of course also embeddable, so I could say I want an inline database with my new test database. And then we could change and see this should be a board view. And now these two would, the moment I change it, it would also change up here. So this gives a lot of options of how you can organize different stuff in many places. You can make one list with a lot of small views of different databases to give you a good overview, or you can create a big database with a lot of properties that gives you an overview of one exact thing. So I think this is super powerful, and I hope this video can help you get started creating databases in Notion. Thank you so much for watching.